Uncle Scrooge Earth's Mightiest Duck, issue number 4 from Marvel Comics. So this is it, the big payoff, the grand finale, where we finally find out if a duck with the money bin can literally save the world. We pick up right where the last issue left us, with Scrooge, Donald, and the nephews, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, knee-deep in the shattered remains of the alien robot army. They've been fighting for hours, they're exhausted, they're battered, and they've just managed to claw their way to a moment of victory. And then they look up, and they see it. That classic sci-fi trope. In the horizon, it's just more of them. This wasn't the army. That was just a scouting party. So we cued the collective panic. The odds are, and I'm quoting the comic here, literally impossible. And in the middle of this existential dread, this moment where any sane person would be drafting their surrender speech, we get the single most Donald Duck moment in history. He doesn't give a speech. He doesn't pray. He just squints at the incoming horde, points, and says, "I'll take the 100 on the left." I just love that. The world is ending, and Donald's immediate gut reaction is still, you know what? I can take him. The sheer, unadulterated, pugilistic rage of that duck is a thing of beauty. Everyone else is afraid. Meanwhile, Donald Duck is ready to recreate Helm's Deep out of pure spite. But that's when Scrooge, the master of capital, he announces he has a way to win. And what is his ultimate weapon? His secret stratagem he's been hiding this whole time. It starts to rain money. Yeah, coins start falling from the sky like God is paying child support all at once. And Donald and the boys, trained by the best, immediately start scooping them up. But they're not keeping them. They're shoving them into the chest slots of new incoming robots, which for some reason powers them down. Yeah, this was kind of weird. I mean, just sit on that for a second. These are coin-operated robots. The universal rule of coin-operated things is you insert coin, you get a service, like a gumball, a ride, a song, jukebox, vending machine. You put a coin in these things, and they shut down? It's kind of the most baffling design flaw in alien military history. Like, did their R&D department just never user test this? Like, yeah, what happens if the Earthlings pay us? Well, catastrophic system failure, sir. Perfect, sounds great. Let's roll it out. So yeah, more robots come, and Scrooge, like the flexing billionaire he is, just drops more coins. And here's where we get the exposition dump, the big reveal. Where is all this money coming from? Where was Scrooge hiding it this entire time? It was on the moon. Yeah. Years ago, Scrooge had Gyro Gearloose build a giant electromagnet on the moon, tuned specifically to the metallic composition of Scrooge's coins. So it was his ultimate panic button. If things ever go too bad, yoink, the entire fortune gets vacuumed up into the sky like a cosmic slot machine jackpot. Yeah, turns out Scrooge's entire money has been in orbit, circulating the Earth like the rings of Saturn, which kind of raises a few questions. Like, how did no alien, like not a single one, in their entire intergalactic invasion ever look up and go, hey, is it just me, or does this planet have a glittery coin-based asteroid belt? But yeah, we'll just let it slide. I mean, it's comic book logic. But yeah, Scrooge isn't done. Cranks the magnetism to 11, and it's not just his coins anymore. It's every single coin on the face of the planet. Every penny in the wishing well, every quarter in a laundromat, every gold doubloon in a museum. It all gets ripped into the sky, forming a single moon-sized meteor of pure currency. And Scrooge McDuck, the man who built his life on money, shoots it all into the cold, dead void of space. And this is where the plan gets brilliant. The invaders are broke. They're destitute. Their own coin-operated robots start demanding payment, and when the aliens can't cough it up, the robots do what any unpaid workforce does. They unionize and revolt. The invasion is over. The Earth is saved. But at what cost? So the celebration begins, but our focus is on Scrooge. He's down to his last coin, the first one he ever earned, the one he calls the number one dime. It was the control mechanism for the whole magnet system, and Scrooge himself, he's just empty. We get the real emotional gut punch here. Turns out, each coin wasn't just currency, it was a memory, a physical manifestation of his life story. Every adventure, every deal, every hard-won victory, it was all tied to these coins. And with them gone, Scrooge is unraveling. He's a hard drive that's been wiped. He's barely hanging on to his own identity. And then, in a moment of pure heartbreaking instinct, one of the last remaining robots lunges for his nephews. And without a second thought, Scrooge does the one thing he has left to do. He uses his last coin, his final memory, the very cornerstone of who he is. He rams it into the robot, causing it to flee and save the boys. So the last tether is cut. He looks at Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and he doesn't recognize them. He looks at Donald, and there's nothing. Just a blank stare. He doesn't even remember his own name. So as the world parties, Earth's mightiest hero, Scrooge McDuck, just slinks away into the shadows. Former billionaire is nothing but a top hat and a vacant expression, literally losing sight of himself. And I'm going to stop it there because this comic still has about 40% more to give, and I'm not going to take that discovery away from you. I think you should check it out for yourself, because this wasn't just a fun, crazy adventure. It was a story with genuine affection at its core. The idea that Scrooge would sacrifice not just his wealth, but his very self, the entire map of his life, to save his family, that's kind of powerful stuff. And this is kind of where it gets personal for me. I've mentioned this before in previous Scrooge McDuck videos, but this entire series, it kind of feels like dementia. Like it feels like that's what it's talking about as its undertone. Maybe I'm projecting. Last year, I took care of my grandmother who was suffering from it, and reading this, watching Scrooge over the course of these 4 issues just slowly lose pieces of himself, the sharpness, the memories, till we get to this point where he's looking at his own family and doesn't know them. It hit hard. It's a heavy subject, but I think the comic handles it with this beautiful metaphorical grace that even a kid can understand. The art of losing yourself one piece at a time. Speaking of art, I think it was mostly fantastic. This issue actually had 6 different artists, and for the most part, it was a visual treat. Gorgeous, dynamic. Though I'll be honest, there were a few pages where it felt a bit too stylized, and because of that, it was a little jarring compared to the rest of the issue. But I don't think it derailed from my experience reading this. All in all, I think this run was a triumph. It was a serious, heartfelt, and surprisingly deep tribute to an iconic character. I do wish it had a little more of that classic duck humor throughout, but what we got was something special, something memorable. So yeah, I highly recommend you check out Uncle Scrooge, Earth's Mightiest Duck. It's more than just a comic about a rich duck fighting aliens. It's a story about what you're willing to lose for the people you love. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you next time. Take care. Later. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, I still want to thank you for watching it this far, and I hope the next one is more to your liking. With that said, thank you once again, and I hope you guys and gals have a good one. Later.